Show with Digital CxO, and I'm excited to have CEO Dustin Lemick from BriteCo on with us today to share a little bit about jewelers going digital. How are you doing, Dustin?
I'm doing well, Amanda. Thanks so much for having me.
So, as a part of Jewelers Going Digital, a report was just released, and it found that most of the respondents believed that going digital was important to saving their business. Can you share a little bit about the details of some of the findings?
Yeah, absolutely. So Jewelers Going Digital is a collective of kind of leading industry companies in the jewelry space. And what we've done is we've gotten together. This is the second year we're actually issuing this report. It's a survey report, so we survey independent retail jewelers, mostly kind of brick and mortar, all across the country. We had 300 organization respondents to this year's survey results, and then we publish a report. It's the Jewelers Going Digital report, and really the aim and goal of the group Jewelers Going Digital and this actual particular report is to uncover some findings in terms of digital and what some of these stores are focused on, or these organizations are focused on when it comes to digital products, digital advancement, and essentially at a high level, how these folks are thinking about the digital future. And so the last report, 2021, was really, really productive. And, we give all of the findings back to the industry. And so this year, to answer your question, this year we had some really interesting findings. It really is kind of more or less on par to what I would expect in terms of just digital being incredibly important and a flashlight on digital moving forward.
Were there any big significant trends that you saw from last year to this year?
So the trends, yes, it's the adoption. I mean, not a secret, but this is a very clear trend, is the adoption of social media presence. A lot of these organizations now fully understand it. They're not there yet. They're still working to get there. A lot of organizations, some organizations are sophisticated enough and they're there. The jewelry industry, by and large, is a little bit old school by nature. So some folks, it's taking longer to get there, but certainly social media presence. And the other thing that I thought was really interesting, which makes sense to me, was a combination, sort of like a hybrid of how do you use technology to aid your current business, not to take over the business, not to become all of a sudden, if you're a brick and mortar, physical retailer. These folks aren't trying to become e-com. They're trying to figure out how to utilize tools, social media platforms, Google, et cetera, to aid in their current business, whether it's to drive traffic, awareness, things like that.
So they're finding the ways in which digital transformation is going to work best for them to improve their positioning and their customer experience.
Absolutely. And customer experience is I know you guys look a lot at customer experience. That is critical here. And I think that also came through in some of the findings. One of the things that surprised me was I still think, I believe the number was about 50% of the respondents said that next year they're going to be looking to increase their technology budget. For me, that should be 100%. So I still think that there's a lot of room for improvement there. And so there was some interesting and I was shocked. I would have said 80%, 75, 80%, we're going to spend more money. And I think every single year, every organization that's budgeting should be allocating a significant amount and probably a growing amount to technology investment.
Yeah, I believe the report said half of the respondents expect to spend more money on the technology. Where do you think they'll be spending it?
So I think you're seeing paid search, paid social. in the response, we saw web development, right? So a lot of these independents are, they need full revamps or full refresh of core web presence. I mean, whether that's just as basic as like, hey, we need a brand new website, or we need to significantly overhaul our current website. I do think that some of these jewelers are trying to understand how they can sell effectively online. So I do think you're seeing things like Shopify getting used more, and but also like I think that a lot of these organizations are playing around with paid search, paid social, SEM. Those are places we're seeing some of the dollars go to, and then there's also efficiency as well. Like so, you're seeing mostly like communication efficiency. How can we like adopt technology tools? So like whether it's like chat features, like where you can chat online, or like some selling features or customer service features directly on your website. And there's a whole host of like a suite of technology tools that, utilize these chat features or these streamlined communication features.
Do you have any advice to companies that are looking to digitally transform as far as how do they know what platform to use or what software to use? Where do they look? And how do they get started with this whole process?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. The one thing I think that we've experienced with this industry is that it feels very daunting to folks. It feels like this like big, huge task, and I think it's hard for some folks to just kind of wrap their head around all of it. So I always recommend kind of start small. Like there's no harm in like with small and testing. Honestly, like we at BriteCo, like we have an ethos of testing. We test almost everything. So research is number one. Like research, do your research. There's so much information online now that you can do demos. If there's, focus on and focus, have a level of focus in terms of like, this is what we want to tackle now. Like the first and kind of really plan it out so that you're not overwhelmed with saying, we need a new website and we need a new chat feature and we need new like CRM system and we need no, like focus on one thing at a time, take it in like bite-sized pieces, but do the research and then talk to other folks in the industry. Like that is a critical thing. Like I always try to, when I'm looking at a new product or service, just information gathering. That should be the objective.
Gotcha. So looking into future technology that's kind of hitting today right now and being looked at, where do you see the metaverse and things like cryptocurrency falling into the industry? Do you think, where do you think that's going? Is it here to stay and how can it be utilized?
Yeah, so two huge topics. I'll start with crypto first. I definitely think there's application for cryptocurrency. I think for our industry, for the jewelry industry, I don't think it's anywhere close to here, quote unquote, here yet, in terms of being actually useful in the industry. I don't think we're going to see it for a while in terms of crypto. Now, blockchain, I think, has some interesting applications to the jewelry industry. I think you're seeing some blockchain technology being utilized through, I'll give you an example, like there's some interesting companies that are doing kind of lineage, using blockchain for lineage tracking for diamonds. So like tracking it from mine to finished good. So that was one thing that there's that I think is a really good application for blockchain because there was a lack of transparency in terms, and I think that most consumers even knew that there was some level of murkiness when it comes to diamonds. Where do they come from? Is it ethically sourced? All of these things, and I think blockchain has good usage there. In terms of metaverse, I actually had my first like meeting, quote unquote, in the metaverse, which was very cool. I thought. I had a meeting I thought it was just a regular Zoom meeting. I went in like I normally do. I go into the calendar invite and I see there's no Zoom link, but there's another link. And I click on that link and it takes us into this kind of meta world. I mean, I wasn't wearing glasses or anything like that. It was more of a simulation, like a video game kind of thing. But it takes you into this world, and like all of the people I was meeting with all had their own little avatars there, and we all kind of met up in this area. And then once you kind of get close to somebody there, like on your avatar gets close to another avatar, the videos pop up and you can start talking to each other. So it was super interesting. Again, like that's novelty, like fun, but like not all that much different than a Zoom. So I definitely think that we are going to see more and more and more metaverse kind of stuff as time goes on. I think it takes a while. I don't think we're there yet. I think it's going to be, a handful of years before we actually see like real application for it.
So right now, just a great novelty that if it can be harnessed in many ways, but we're a little ways out.
I think so, yeah.
Well, I want to thank you so much, Dustin, for coming on today and sharing about the jewelry industry and going digital and giving some of your insights how to do that.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you so much.
Yep, take care.